Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page podcast. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. This is episode 15 and I'm warm and cozy and I'm in my safe, quiet, happy place. However, I have left the craft room this week. It happened. I couldn't take it any longer, and the call to go and have a look around the shops and go and have a look at the stores that just might have some interesting junk journaling potential. It was just too much. I was talking about it in the last podcast and that was it. I had the opportunity to go and pick up my daughter, and there I was right there, and I wasn't prepared for it because I had thought I was going to do some filming, but it's Christmas time. It's so busy. The shops are full of people. The town is full of people. It was complete madness to even have considered it because of how busy it was, but I do remember it is a good time to have a little look because lots of craft things get put out for people. And half the time, serious crafters have already done their crafting. And so what is left is just going to be not necessarily snapped up because the serious crafters their focus is elsewhere and they have... This is how my brain works. I might find a bargain. I'm just justifying it, aren't I, really? I'm sure you could go at any time of year and find a bargain. The fact is that it's second-hand goods and it's always going to be a bargain. But there's a bargain and then there's a bargain, isn't it? And we know the difference. We have a keen, trained eye to look for these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't be remotely interested in junk journaling. So if you didn't have that inner magpie, that hunter-gatherer instinct within you, perhaps junk journaling isn't for you. But I have discovered that I do have a little keen eye for those vintage finds, or just see value in something where others would just not give a second glance. And I wasn't disappointed with my haul. So I have spent less than £9 on everything that I've got. I'm going to take away £3 of that because I also found myself a scarf, and that's not for journaling with, although it could be. It's quite pretty. I'm just going to talk you through what I've got. I don't know that it requires a video or anything because I can just talk through what I've got, and I'll bring these things out in the video when the time comes to use them. One of the first things that I found, and one of the first places I look for are the books. I do go and head over to the books just in case there's anything really interesting there. I can't say that what I've got is terribly interesting, but from a junk journaling point of view, I'm always looking for interesting text on pages. And not only that, something quite nice. So when we have a snippet or a teared piece of book page, it's really nice to have nice language bouncing off at you if it's English and you can read it. So if I see a little snippet of text, I want it to be about something calming and inspirational and fun. I don't want to have a part of a book that's describing some gruesome murder or something horrible. So I have to be very careful what book I pick up. I don't know that this is the right book because it's definitely set in the 1840s through to the 1920s. It's a Tom Hardy book, let's say that. But the text within this book, and it's only an old paperback, it's had water damage, so the pages are already crinkly and interesting from a crafting artistic point of view. But the text is very small, much smaller than I'm used to when I open up a paperback book. I wouldn't expect it to be this fine writing, and actually it is really interesting visually to look at the blocks of text and it to be a lot smaller than usual. So I liked that because I think some of the pages are coming out anyway. The glue is starting to go, and that's a really good find. The man looked at me as if to say, what on earth are you buying here? I came over with all sorts of things. But there is a method in my madness, and I did tell him I was an artist, and he said, oh, well, you might be interested in that box over there, and it's so important that you mention these things, otherwise you miss them. I might be interested in that box over there. Are you kidding me? I'm excited by that box over there, and I don't even know what's in it. So it was all very exciting, and over I go to this scruffy old cardboard box, and inside, artist materials. What? This is insane. This is amazing. Where did you get this? Oh, somebody just dropped it in 2 days ago. We haven't gone through it yet. Yes, ching ching. Amazing. What's inside? Well, here we go. Some art tools. I've got a lovely wooden handle. In fact, let me get this out of the packet. I haven't even seen it properly myself. It just went straight. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. See, it was turned over, so I didn't see what it was, but I'm just now looking at it. It's a wooden handle, like a nice rosewood wooden handle, and I've turned it over, and it is actually an official Winsor & Newton painter's trowel, a very small little triangular painter's trowel that you would put on maybe oil paints or thicker paints onto a canvas. It's a number 24. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm really pleased with that. That is that to buy is probably $15 to $20. Just, I'm going to look that up and see how much that is. But yeah, I mean, it's a lovely flexible metal tool. Can you hear that? I love it. So I'm going to show... Oh, I'm really excited because I didn't know it was as nice as that. I was excited even if it was just... I thought it was just a cheap one, but it's a really good one, a Winsor Newton. That's a really good artistic make of paints and tools. And then what came with it was 2 boxes, very small. Sorry, it's a rustly bag here. Let's get everything out of the rustly bag. There we go. So I've got also, this is the best part of my haul, really. Talking about the best bits first here. So I have found 6 watercolour paints in their tubes, and they're totally brand new. They've come in a little box, 2 little boxes, and they are Terry Harrison's Autumn Shades by Dower and Roney Artist Watercolour Paints. And inside, oh look, inside, oh wow, they are 3 little tubes of watercolour paints, totally perfectly intact, and it says autumn colours. So I've got one in a burnt shadow brown, autumn gold, beautiful orange, rusty orange colour, and then a sunlit gold, a lovely bright mustard yellow colour. Wow, that's great. And then this little paint palette. Oh, I think I better do a video on this just so you can see it as well. And then in the second box, I've got 3 greens, and same again. Yep, they've never been used. Maybe this one. Okay, so out of the 6, only 1 has been used, or certainly somebody squeezed the tube in the middle, and that is Country Olive green, which is a beautiful colour. That looks like a real moss coloured green. A midnight green, which is a nice deep dark jungle tropical cheese plant, monstera green plant colour. And then a lovely lime green, a nice bright fresh shoots just coming up the ground green, sunlit green. Oh my goodness, how exciting is that? What a find. I can't remember what he charged me for. He just sort of did me a bundle. I took it all up and I said, well, can you do me a deal on that? And he came back with, I think it was £6 for everything, and then the scarf on top as well. The scarf was £3. So £6 for everything. So I've got the trowel, the lovely paints. Came with a little spray bottle of water that's never been used, so that's useful for the desk. And then I've got 2 balls of yarn, so I always have a look in the yarn. I can't resist I can't resist a yarn where it's like a fun one, a creative one, a speciality yarn. And this one is a fancy yarn. There we go, called Fancy Yarn, and it says Ocean Pom-Poms. And it's, let's see if I can describe it. Oh yes, so these are fun. So we've got the yarn like a string, and then interspersing in the string, maybe every 2 inches, are these fluffy little pom-poms, and they're all in ocean colours. So there's a lovely white but ice blue colour, then there's a slightly darker blue, then it goes into a sea green, followed by a more foresty green, and then it goes back to the blue tones. So it's greens and blues, but fun. And I think that I could probably dye some of that as well to have browns, also for a more grunge look. Grungy pom-poms, well, there's a thing. And then the other yarn I've got is a chunky yarn. It's called Snowdrops, and it is yarn that has little tiny pom-poms all the way through it. It's a textured yarn, and I love things like that for when I wrap up parcels, or if I'm sending anything off as a swap or a giveaway or a happy mail. It's nice to just finish off the little parcel with a bit of fancy yarn, and it's always nice for my junk journaling reciprocants to receive, because they can then use that yarn to add to their tags. And I've had a lot of compliments over the years when I've sent things off like that, because it's so useful to use in other parts of your projects. And then the other thing, I got a great big bundle of cards. So people put out the greeting cards in baskets, but these ones, I haven't had a chance to go through them all. I just grabbed the pack, but they are all images from 1825 to 1899, so the 1800s. Now that they're prints, but they are vintage, so they would have been, I would guess, something that you could have bought maybe in the 70s. And yeah, they are, so they're vintage, and then they depict images from the 1800s, which is really, really cool. So this one is beautiful because they're all of the countryside. So children playing on a farm, and they're nice watercolour paintings and oil painting. 14 lovely artist cards, all in watercolours, beautiful images from 1800s of children, and nice scenes of ladies walking in fields, and just pretty uplifting pictures depicting countryside and farmland and seaside, and digging for things on the sand. Just pretty imagery that reminds you of a nice summer's day or a holiday. Those sort of lovely images that we all just feel safe and comforted by. So that's great. I was really pleased to find those. And then I found a birthday card depicting this beautiful tea rose on the front, but it's in a Japanese style, so it's been hand painted. It's a print of, it's just a birthday card, but I just love the image, and I think that I could do something with that, and I thought that was really nice. And again, it's a vintage one, something that you would have perhaps bought back in the 80s, but it is just really, really lovely. So I was pleased with all of that. So I've got a book, I've got 15 cards, and then I've got some labels. So the other thing to look for is stationery. So if you're looking for things in the stationery section, you might be lucky enough to find adhesive labels that are used for sticking on envelopes with the address. So address sticky labels are perfect because we can paint them. So what I might do is use my watercolour paints that I've just found and put some different textures of using the paints onto the label stickers. And this seems like a whole pack, but only half a sheet was used. And that was £1. And it says 21 labels per sheet. And there are 10 sheets in a pack. So that is very cool. I don't know how much they would be to buy, but I wouldn't say that he was the cheapest with some of his stationery things. It was funny. It was the stationery stuff that I've got the labels. I've got some sticky circles as well for 50p. And then I've got some hammered card, A4 hammered card for printing on, but beautiful. Also, you could do watercolour and things like that, and some matching envelopes. And it was the stationery that cost the most amount of money. That's where the bargain hunt comes in, because it's just what other people put a value on and what they don't. And so what's valuable to me, a tube of watercolour paint at £6 each, he didn't seem to understand that. So either he hadn't looked at it properly and realised that really he should have been charging me more. And to be honest, I didn't even know what I was getting. It was just all in a bag you couldn't really see through. I saw that it had the tool and maybe a couple of boxes, and it looked like there was only one paint in each. Perhaps he thought the same. But now in further investigation, I've realised I've ended up with quite a high value haul there of all of that. And I thought, £6, that's a bit much for some old paper and a couple of paints. But there's a lot here. And then 2 balls of yarn, a spray bottle, and then that's only half of it. Then the other thing I found, if you have a look in the handbag section, you might find things that are for jewellery, to keep jewellery in. And I found this little, in autumn colours, quite nice, not unpleasant sort of fabric with florals on it. And when I open it up, you could put your jewellery in there. There's 2 pockets inside, and there's a place to hang bracelets and rings with a poppered up area for sliding in rings and things. So I think when you're looking for things, do have a look for handbags and little bits and bobs, because it's often so inexpensive to buy a pouch or a pocket that you could then go and store some of your things in. But on this occasion, it's for jewellery, this pouch that I've got here. And I just think that that's really useful if I want to go away for a weekend, or if I want to move to another room and take some things with me. The little popper strip in the middle, which would, if you were going away for a weekend, you could put your rings or bracelets or things like that on. I've thought, well, maybe I could use that. And you might even have these things, because I'm sure I've got a couple in my possession anyway that I would use if I went on holiday. I would put my makeup and I would put my jewellery in one of these jewellery roll bags or pouches. And I think mine does have a little popper area where you can pop up, and it's just a strip, and the strip will fit the ring, and sometimes they're padded and you can have your bracelets, necklaces and things put on there. You could even poke earrings through and put the backing on the other side. But I was just thinking, I think I could stack some washi tape on there, and I'm looking at it in a completely different frame of mind, thinking, oh no, I wouldn't put bracelets on there, I would put washi tapes on there. And then this pocket, that would house my scissors, and this side I would have my scrap papers, and stickers and embellishments could go on the left, and then I'd have my bone folder, my scissors and my glue on the right, and the whole thing would just tie up with some ribbon on the side. And I was just really pleased with it. And I thought, that's great. And it didn't cost very much money, obviously. It's second hand. So I'm just going to throw it straight in the wash. And then if I want to embellish it further, I will. But also at the bottom of the tub where he had all these purses were some loose buttons. It seems inevitable that I find these loose buttons, but these ones were very, very beautiful. I've got 5 buttons, and they're all mother of pearl, original, beautiful. They obviously came off of some very nice garment, and yeah, they are a really lovely find. So five mother of pearl, large buttons, all glistening and shining with the iridescent quality of pinks and turquoise and just that sunshine yellow. I can see the blues, the aquas, all just dancing off on one side, and then on the other side it's a natural shell, and they have been lacquered or varnished and they are quite shiny, but they're absolutely stunning. And I think, well, that's great, because he just thought I was bonkers and they were free anyway. I said, I've just put them in there, I found some loose buttons, and they think, what is she doing? I said, well, I'm an artist, and I like to do crafts. He goes, you might like what's in that box. And then that's when I discovered the paint set as well. So I've ended up with a few lovely buttons. And then the best thing is I had a look in the cabinet near the till. That's where they keep all the jewellery. And I found this wonderful necklace. So it's a costume jewellery piece, but it is absolutely laden with charms. And he gave me that for £2, £1.50, £2, and I'm just trying to read the label of where it came from. It's okay, it's from Next. So that's a fashion shop in the UK here, and honestly, there's a lovely chunky chain to it. It's from a style that we perhaps would have had in the 90s, and it's just got some vintage style charms on there. So I'm just going to talk you through those. So it's got two beautiful jade green beads, which have got a filigree type patterning on them. There's beautiful little flowers that are enamelled. So it is actually enamelled beads here that look like they are from China, with that lovely Chinese style. So there are so there's 4 of those lovely enamelled beads. Then there's some other like semi-precious crystal beads, but they're not them, they're glass. I think they're glass. Oh no, they could be plastic, but they're interesting looking. And then there's some lovely metal charms. I've got one big heart and one little heart, and they're puffed up metal in brass. So the whole thing has got brass charms on it with enamel work on it. I was just really pleased. Just lovely, because I know that these will look great in a journal, just to swing off things. And there's little coins. I'm thinking I'm missing one, so one has been lost, which is probably why the necklace has been given away. So there it is missing a couple of things. So you would put it in the category of broken jewellery, but I can see the one that it's missing, because it would be similar to the one on the other side. And it's just a very, very, that one isn't the exciting one. That's just like a little drop bead. So it's just lost one little drop bead, and otherwise everything's here. But from what I would do with it is I would be taking this apart anyway, and I think we'll do a video on this because it's so beautiful. In fact, I think I've just found it. Oh, look, I haven't lost anything. The previous owner has put it on. She's hooked it on. Oh, so it's not broken then. It's just been repositioned. Oh, well there, it could be worn, but it's actually quite heavy and chunky, and it isn't my style. Probably not anyone's style at the moment, but it's definitely got some interesting things. So it's of a Victorian age anyway. And then I've also found a brooch as well, which is a very old junk journal-y find, just an old brooch, a little bit damaged, but it's got a lovely patina. It's got a beautiful intricate flower arrangement. There's something about it, it's quite nice. Looks like it might scrub up and look okay, and I thought I could add that onto a journal front. So yeah, I've done really well with my haul. So along with the postcards, the books, the paints, the pouch that I found, the 2 balls of yarn. I've got this wonderful necklace with most beautiful charms all on it in a Victorian style, but it's not. It's a modern necklace, but costume jewellery, junk jewellery, but it comes with these beautiful beads, one of which is really big, and some brass style beads that I think would look absolutely fantastic off of a great big chunky paperclip. They could really look good hanging out the side of a journal. And I've got beads that I will take apart and maybe add to the centre of my signatures. And it's interesting, they're different because they've come from a unique piece of jewellery, or certainly something that is not available to go and buy now. So if anybody wants to go and buy charms now, then we'll all have the same. But if you're looking for any vintage finds or junk shop finds, and some of this is not really vintage, but it's retro, and it's of an older style. So even though it's retro, it is depicting beads and things in the style of the Victorian era, which is perfect if you're doing a Victorian journal. And then the mother of pearl beads and buttons are great, and I've got some pale pink ones as well, which, well, that'll come into something else another time. But for the money that you pay and the time you spend is enjoyable anyway, and as long as you speak to people, you'll manage to get the finds. So there we go, guys, that's my haul. That was my excitement of this week. Do have a look and go through your own broken jewellery, and just go through your own jewellery boxes and see if there's anything in there that you would repurpose, and maybe you'd like to take some of those beads off of a necklace that is just too big, bit flamboyant, you bought for a special one-off occasion and you're not really going to be wearing it again. Could you take those beads and swinging charms or anything a little bit interesting and repurpose them onto paper clips and make paper clips for your journal? So have another look at what you've got in your jewellery boxes, and buttons that come free with garments that may be hanging up and you hadn't sort of realised that there's a little spare button on a ticket, and you're not going to lose the button because you may not want to wear it. You could take the button if you like the buttons. If buttons is your thing. Has anyone got any jewellery or any old things? Have you got a sister or a daughter or a good friend that would be only too pleased to offload some of their costume jewellery that they no longer wear? And is there anything interesting in there that you could repurpose? Have a look at that when you're connecting in with family over the next month, and just see if anybody's got anything that they wouldn't mind passing on for a fun jewellery encrusted journal that you might want to add to your journaling. Little fun beads just to hang off the side or the bottom, or sew onto a piece of fabric. So I was really pleased with all of that. I hope that that's been of interest, listening to what I get up to. And I'll be back on Monday with some more talk from the craft room. And if you'd like to head on over and go and have a look at the YouTube videos, if you haven't already seen them, you can always leave me a little message of an update about the podcast, anything you'd like me to talk about, a topic that you'd be interested to hear more on, or if you would like to ask any crafty questions, we can have a go through some of those, and I'll share with you how I tackle some of these things and approach my process on how I start creating a page, and just taking inspiration from what's around us, and occasionally popping out just for a new inspiration to see what's in the stores is always a bit of fun, isn't it? And as long as you leave yourself with a little budget of what to go and spend, and be really discerning about what you bring back, make sure that you've got a good idea of the craft you could do with the item before you go and buy it. Yeah, you would enjoy that, especially if there's some craft markets coming up, and have a go and see what you can find, especially if you're starting out and you don't have much in your crafting kits. You can definitely find some interesting little treasures out there. Okay, guys, so thank you very much for listening, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.